Okay, so we are going to be reacting to a video thing sent by my guy Graham.
First off, let's talk about gender. Gender is a set of attitudes, feelings, and behaviors associated with a person's biological sex within their culture. This is a really important distinction I want you to remember.
God made them male and female. Last time I checked, the dictionary definition of gender was if you're male or female. What?
Your gender does not necessarily equal your biological sex.
Oh my gosh, what is it?
Description, while the other is a cultural description, meaning that it's based on a cultural collection of ideas on how males and females should behave. Unfortunately, those ideas often take the form of stereotypes. Stereotypes are assumptions about people based on their traits, such as their biological sex. For example, males are usually associated with masculine characteristics. These inform attitudes like, boys don't cry, men are strong and confident, or men don't talk about their feelings, while females are usually associated with feminine characteristics. These inform attitudes like, girls are sweet, women are patient and sensitive, or women are always so emotional. The worst thing about stereotypes is that they're really sneaky, too. Even if we don't mean to, we tend to have a lot of stereotypes subtly built into us from a very young.
Okay, what I think about this is true. I think the way it's being framed is bad. Because yes, stereotypes do exist. I'm the type of person that people say acts like a girl. And I think it's kind of dumb that you gender characteristics or personality traits. But this is not the definition of the word. It is not a set of attitudes, feelings, or behaviors. That is not what this is.
Now that we have an idea of what gender is, let's look at gender identity. Gender identity is one's personal concept of oneself as male, or man, or female, or woman. It's different from gender because gender identity is self-defined, not culturally defined. One gender identity can be the same as one's biological sex, which is known as being cisgendered. Or one's gender identity can also be different from one's biological sex. A person whose gender identity and biological sex don't match may...
God made them male and female. There is no other things. There's no such thing as a gender identity. There are only two options. There's no third option. This is absurdity. Oh my gosh. Like, what is this? What? This is just indoctrination. This is what people are being taught in school? What?
As transgender. A person who was born male but identifies as female, for example, might refer to themselves as a transgender woman, or trans woman for short. Another really important thing to remember is that gender identity is not related to sexual orientation. That is, who someone is romantically attracted to. Gender identity determines who you identify as, not who you love. A gender expression is a bit different from gender identity. Gender expression is the way people communicate their gender within their culture. In other words, how they express their inner identity to the outside world around them. In the US, gender expression is usually done through types of clothing, communication styles, and areas of interest. Some people's gender expressions may go against cultural expectations associated with their biological sex.
Areas of interest. No, that doesn't make sense. I do not think personality should be a thing that is on here. I still think this is dumb either way. This is just indoctrination still. Like, oh my gosh, what is this? These leftists. What?
Gender identity, and gender expression are all related and have several relationships among each other. For example, a person might be born female, identify as female, and have a gender expression of female. Or they might be born female, identify as female, but have a gender expression of male, such as the clothing that they wear is typically associated with males. Or they might be born female, but identify as male, and have a gender expression of male, which often goes against cultural expectations for female. These kinds of people might refer themselves as transgender. Now,
This is sin. No, you can't do that. Like, clothing is a bit wacky, because different cultures would be different, so I think there's a command in Corinthians about this, that you shouldn't wear the opposite gender's clothing. The issue is today that a lot of clothing is ungendered. Like, I could wear sweats and some girl could wear the same pair of sweats. But being trans here, this is just evil. Romans 1 does talk about this.
3 examples, of course. There are many, many combinations of everything in between. No two people are exactly alike or fit into exactly the same mold.
This is stupid. Who is teaching this willingly? These, like, what? What? I don't know. I never had a class like this when I was in... What? What is this second video? Oh my gosh. Oh my... It's just transgender indoctrination.
All right. So sexual orientation describes a person's sexual and romantic attractions. Remember, this is not the same as gender identity. People who are attracted to people of the opposite sex are known as heterosexual, or more commonly straight. This couple on the beach here probably identify as straight.
No, this is just the biblical... This is like just how things work. Your man shall leave his home and be joined to one wife, and they shall become one flesh. Like, this is just how things are supposed to work. These two don't exist. Well, they do exist, but they're wrong. Let's just pull up Romans 1 for a second. I Not this. For this reason, God gave them over to degrading passions, for their women exchanged natural relations for that which is contrary to nature. You hear this? Contrary to nature. And likewise, the men too abandoned natural relations with women and burned in their desire towards one another, males committing shamelessful acts and receiving in their own persons due penalty for their error. So, this should not be taught. This should not be taught. This is evil. These two, evil. I don't care what anyone says. Evil.
People who are attracted to people of the same sex are known as homosexual. Though a lot of people don't like to use that word anymore since it's considered pretty old-fashioned and even offensive. Instead, gay is more
offensive. Okay. The truth is offensive, so I don't care.
Another term you might hear pretty often to describe relationships between gender identity and sexual orientation is queer or questioning. Queer refers to people who do not identify with any particular gender identity or sexual orientation. Queer can also be used as an inclusive term for a big variety of sexual orientations or gender identities. However, you shouldn't call somebody queer unless they expressly wish to be called that, because it can be considered very hurtful and offensive. Questioning describes people who are exploring their gender identity or sexual orientation, and therefore might not know exactly how they identify.
What? Again, why are we teaching this? How did we let the leftists get to control and just do this? I never had a class like this, ever. Oh my gosh. How are we letting this happen? They're just indoctrinating younger people to be more leftists and to follow more evil, and this is just Romans 1. These people don't care about God exists. We know that because that which is known to God is evident within them, for God made it evident to them. For even though they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks, but they became futile in their reasoning and senseless in their hearts, and their hearts were darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools. And for this reason, God gave them over to these degrading passions. So, the fact that this is being taught in schools is a judgment. It's a judgment on the evil people who are in control. And these evil people are trying to ruin everyone else that is in the system. This needs to stop. I don't care how. Well, there are definitely some ways that shouldn't do it. We shouldn't be causing a revolution or anything, but it needs to end. This cannot be happening.
They might be questioning whether they're straight, bi, gay, ace, or pan. Or they might be questioning what gender they identify with. These are some pretty big questions to figure out about oneself, after all. Now, you've probably seen this group of letters before. LGBT.
Oh. I knew it was coming for it. There are more letters in this now, okay? There's a plus. I think I heard James White once talking about how they added, like, a lot more letters.
You. That stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender.
Only 9 million? Why is there a whole class talk about it if only 9 million people identify with this? Here's the issue. We are being taught a minority position as pure evil. Like, how did all the people that actually have power be evil and from this specific minority? Because only 9 million, that's not a lot, but you hear everything about them. They have the loudest voices, and that's the issue. I think there are more people that are reasonable in this world than there are unreasonable. So, yeah, like, I think it's just problematic, and yeah, that's just an issue.
And queer or questioning. The acronym was created during the 1990s to represent diverse gender identities and sexual orientations. Some people A for asexual, D for asexual, or P for pansexual. Some people think for LGBT is time, SAGK, stands for sexuality and gender sense. Only say LGBT is LGBT. But for large diverse LGBT in the United States, about 9 million people in the US identify as LGBT. This is also known as gender identity.
This is just the worst thing I've ever seen. I don't know. Again, this is just evil. The leftists have just gotten in. We need to do something about this. That's all I have to say. This is just God's judgment, and I hope God judges these people for what they've done.